issues here, seems like, on the YouTube stream. But right now I'm in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and preparing to go into a intensive meditation retreat, about a 7-day retreat. And I also want to express a lot of gratitude for the donors and supporters. Some people have made a donation or offering for me, in the kind of invitation of one's birthday, right? To remember someone and to share with them your remembering or your gratitude, your support. So I appreciate it a lot. Recently, I've been practicing with uncertainty and not knowing, and how that uncertainty or not knowing or not being sure about what's going on can either be a door to liberation, to freedom, to peace, to the recognition of the Buddha mind or the freedom mind or mindfulness itself. Mindfulness or present moment awareness of whatever arises, such as breathing, can be a source of happiness and safety, peace, healing. Or it can be a door of fear. It can be a door of rumination. It can be a door of depression, disaster, difficulty, right? This uncertainty about the mind, this uncertainty about the body, this uncertainty about the environment, this uncertainty about the mind and bodies of the others. So what to do? How to deal with this, how to manage it, how to take care of it. The most alive answer and the most clear answer for me right now is just to step forward. Practice, engage, get up, walk, move. But it's strange in some sense, because the self, or the appearance of this self, this person, this someone who doesn't want to feel unpleasant, who doesn't want to feel difficulty, and wants to feel pleasant, and wants to feel joy and freedom and all that jazz, isn't really there. So this stepping forward, this getting involved, this taking care, it is the unknown. It is in the realm of not knowing. It is in the realm of not understanding. The most authentic position that we can be in is no position. The most authentic person that we can be is not a person. Certainly not someone in particular that's good or bad or right or wrong or what have you. This essential principle, this ultimate truth that right here and right now is it and is everything. And how do we come back to that again and again and again? How do we establish our way of life in coming home rather than going out, going away, seeking something, seeking someone, seeking an experience, seeking healing, seeking to be someone? So luckily, in some sense, luckily, I'm not enlightened yet, right? I'm not enlightened. I'm not free of suffering, and there's a kind of freedom in that I'm allowed to suffer. I'm allowed to go through difficulty. I'm allowed to be imperfect. I'm allowed to make mistakes. I'm allowed to be confused. I'm allowed to be unstable. I don't need to hold myself to any kind of ultimate standard. I don't need to hold other people to any kind of ultimate standard, but it's much more so really interesting case or experience where even though I'm not perfect, even though there's suffering, even though I'm not enlightened, and maybe I'd like to be, wouldn't we all like to be enlightened, whatever that means? But because I know that I'm not trapped in this enlightenment, I don't need to be trapped in any idea of myself, and I can be open and vulnerable with all the different expressions, all the different forms, all the different phenomena that come up in the body or the mind. We read something maybe a couple weeks back from a Zen teacher that said something along the lines of, practitioners understand confusion, whereas those who do not step onto this path confuse understanding. So that it's right here. And sometimes that right here is confusion. Sometimes that right here is a sickness. Sometimes that right here is fear or joy. Sometimes it's gaining something. Sometimes it's losing something. But this understanding is just don't confuse understanding. Understand confusion. And for me, that means to understand it in the realm of impermanence, to understand it in the realm of no fixed self, to understand it in the realm of, yeah, this is not satisfactory. This body is not satisfactory. This mind is not satisfactory. And what that means is that it's not the way I want it to be. I'm grasping, I'm looking for something, I'm trying to get, to hold, to control. And it's impossible. So all phenomena are unsatisfactory if we try to grasp them. But in not grasping, not chasing after, not trying to get, all phenomena are liberation. Even our suffering, even our confusion, even our mistakes, even going straight down into hell, is liberation, is freedom. And the more that my experience is the more that I practice in this way, I may be more sensitive. The more that I'm mindful, the more that I watch my conduct, the more that I give up things that are enticing. The more sensitive I am, the more aware I am of the nature of the mind, the nature of the body in a gross sense, which is unstable. which is confused, which is not free. And the more I feel that I can continue facing that not free, the more I can continue facing the present moment experiencing, which is this present moment experiencing. There's no two ways about it, just like a sword, just like an explosion, just like a meteor hitting Earth. It's just like that. That this present moment experiencing is everything. And it's also that any aspect of that present moment experiencing, any phenomena that arises or comes up within it, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant, good or bad, holy or unholy, right, immaculate or defiled, is empty. What is it empty of? It's empty of being permanent in any way. It's empty of a real rigid self that can take it on, take ownership of it. And certainly it's empty of being satisfactory. So it is dukkha, it is unnecessity. Our looking, our experiencing of that unsatisfactoriness allows us to detach from what we should detach from. It allows us to put down what we should put down. It's like someone who drinks a 2 liter of Coke every day or a 2 liter of Mountain Dew every day. Hopefully I'm not calling anybody out, but unless we can, the more that we can taste, the more that we can feel, the more that we can know the unsatisfactory nature of drinking a 2 liter of Mountain Dew every day, or drinking large amounts of alcohol every day, or whatever your vice or your addiction might be every day, the more that we can recognize that that does not satisfy me. It appears to satisfy you. It appears to be satisfactory, but it is not. Just in the same way that there appears to be a self, there appears to be this real true person and a real true story, this kind of haunting, and it can be a heavenly haunting or a hellish haunting, right? But this haunting of a real true person, a real true story, this real ego, it's not that that doesn't appear to be there, but that that's not real. That's not true. It's not that Mountain Dew doesn't appear to be delicious and medicinal and relieving our suffering, or that food or whatever it might be, our consumption, right? It's not that it doesn't appear to be satisfactory. It certainly appears to be satisfactory. But it's not. The sufferings, the neuroses, the mental health issue that comes up, the mental sickness, the physical sickness, it appears to be permanent, but it's not. That's insight. That's the Dhamma. That's the teaching of the Buddha. And the work that we do of dana, sila, samadhi, panya, or generous virtuosity, or mindfulness, and absorption in mindfulness, okay, that's what brings us to this insight, these clear insights. We see, we experience for ourselves the arising and passing away of phenomena, of mental states, of physical states, just like that. It's really, really real, there, and then it's not, just like that. So rather than becoming lost, confused, obfuscated, in a kind of trance about the phenomena of the mind, by facing the mind, by being with the mind in an upright way, right, using the techniques to stabilize and simplify our mind, and then deepen the mind, concentrate the mind, dive into the mind, we begin to understand directly, principles of mind, rather than just appearances of mind, principles of reality, reality rather than just the appearance. And in fact, the appearance is not separate from that truth. But it's not enough. Once we get involved, once we take steps to concern ourselves with the truth or healing or the ultimate, it's not enough to just enjoy sense pleasures. We won't be satisfied, for sure. I invite everyone to bring your mind inside your body. And what is that your? What is this self? What is this experience? And asking in such a way that invites your deep looking, invites your attention, invites your being with. If you buy a house or a car or a phone, you're now responsible for that. Or you get a dog, something like that, or you have a child, you are responsible. You need to know about it. You need to know about the properties of that vehicle or that child. You need to know about the properties of what you are responsible for. This body and mind is your responsibility. So what are the properties of this body and mind? What are the properties? What is the experience? And it's not so much effort as it is a kind of curiosity and opening up to. It's like, does it take effort to drive a car when you're driving it, already driving it? No, you're already driving the car. This body has already appeared. This mind has already appeared. So we just need to take more of an interest in it and more of an attending to somewhere, not about knowing the ultimate or changing something or healing something or fixing something. It's just to experience. The storylessness of this experience. Penetrate it. So it's a dropping away. There's no practice, there's no exercise, there's no doing anything. There's an experience here. And we start to look at this experience. It may not be difficult to notice the quality of awareness, the quality of noticing that doesn't necessitate us to be carried away by any particular experience, any particular phenomena or narrative or story, the past or the future. But this is a real engagement. It's a real stepping into. But it's an engaging that doesn't really have effort. It is the effort of effortlessness, being willing to be effortless. This efficacy of effortlessness. That no one is someone in particular, that no place is some place in particular. We can spend our whole lives thinking about the perfect diet, the perfect mental state, the perfect physical state, the perfect practice, the perfect treatment for our illness. But actually, the impermanence is treatment enough. Interbeing is treatment enough. The unsatisfactoriness is treatment enough. We break the chains of someone who needs to heal. We break the chains of some place that we are, that we need to deal with. We break the chains of Buddhism, of meditation, of spirituality. Just arrive, just in the way that impermanence just arrives. Just in the way that our breath just arrives. Just in the way that our heartbeat just arrives. And it's always like that. It doesn't matter if you're a millionaire with a yacht and whatever wonderful mental and physical experiences you might want to have, or a homeless man covered in urine, sleeping in the cold. Breaking the chains of someone is mindfulness, is virtue, is wisdom. And when we practice this kind of effortless awareness, which is not passive, we offer that breaking of superstition, concerned with the past or the future or some place or some person, some experience, with each and every moment of mindful breathing. The mental, the thought events come up. The material or the physical events come up. And as sure as they come up, as they arise, they pass away. Okay, dear community, dear friends, as much as we are friends on the path, as much as we develop our relationship with understanding the principles of the mind rather than the phenomena, the particular things that arise in the mind, we are friends on the path. Kalyanamitas, spiritual friends, fellow practitioners, alone together. And we can rely on each other. We can rely on each other's practice, which is our good intention to help, to be mindful, to forgive, to settle, to begin again. And therefore our friendship is through the practice, not through any kind of interpersonal narrative that we create or that we build. Forgive interpersonal narratives. And it is uncomfortable. Don't be shy. Be mindful. Be brave. step forward, get up. But don't fall into getting up. Don't fall into the idea of your practice. Arise, arise, passing, passing. Arrive to the awareness of impermanence rather than fixating on some aspect, some particular property. There is no particular property or particular aspect that is greater than the simple experience. Not searching for anything. Forgiving everything, forgiving searching. And that within this, forgiving, searching, forgiving everything, getting up even from getting up, the whole universe is our heart, our home, our breath. Fearlessness is everywhere, even in fear. Nibbana is everywhere, even in dukkha, even in suffering. So we have to have some degree of faith to continue. And to even forgive our faith and to forgive our continuing. Just the sitting, just the breathing, just the hearing, just the seeing. Just the driving, just the flying, just arriving, just departing. Wow, so precious, so beautiful. But we might cheat ourselves out of that because we're shy or we're fearful or we are caught up in complicated ideas about a self that isn't there, about some state or experience we want to develop or cultivate that is ultimately just impermanent. That somehow this will be satisfactory or that will be satisfactory. All is dukkha. The world is a big pile of shit. The whole universe is full of shit. Dive in. The most beautiful compost and the most wonderful mangoes and durians and flowers and berries, raspberries, blackberries, strawberries will come from the nastiest shit. The most beautiful fruits come from the difficulties. So we have faith that difficulties can come to an end. And we trust our practice. So we keep applying our practice. We keep forgiving the application of our practice. So I've talked certainly more than I should. But I would and I could, so that's why I spoke that much. I like to share a reading, a short Zen reading, and I invite everyone to listen deeply from the heart, from the breath, from the body. What is your heart thinking about? What is your breath thinking about? What is your stomach thinking about? And it's not something to play, or it's not something to say loosely, but actually it's an invitation to look into your direct experiencing and understand that the intellect, the contrived ideas and beliefs and stories that we bring up into our mind and into our life again and again and again, are irrelevant, are to be forgiven only. Master Daning Kwan said to an assembly, "No thought is the source. No dwelling is the basis. True emptiness is the substance. Ethereal being is the function. That is why it is said that the whole earth is true emptiness. The whole universe is ethereal being." Now tell me, who can apply this? Who can apply no thought is the source? No thought is the source. Who can apply this? No dwelling is the basis. The basis of what? Nibbana. The basis of freedom. The basis of the ending of suffering. True emptiness is the substance. All solidity it is solidly impermanent. That's it. True emptiness is the substance. Ethereal being is the function. This flow of life, this beauty, this transformation, this healing, this taking care, this offering, this receiving, this forgiving, this monk life, this community life, this practice life, this seeing life, hearing life, breathing life, heart life, this life is the function. That is why it is said that the whole earth is true emptiness. The whole universe is ethereal being. Now tell me, who can apply this? Who can actualize this? The 4 seasons go on and on. The sun and moon are always light. Reality basically never changes. The way has no location. Adapt to conditions and you will be free. Pursue objects and you will rise and fall. The 4 seasons go on and on. The sun and moon are always light. Reality basically never changes. The way has no location. Adapt to conditions and you will be free. Recognize true reality, which basically never changes, this right here and now. This safety, freedom, protection, liberation of simplicity, of direct experiencing, of mindfulness only. This basically never changes, and the way has no location. nowhere in particular. Adapt to conditions and you will be free. Show up and take care. We've got to show up. We've got to adapt to conditions. We've got to wake up to the conditions. What is that? It's the temperature. It's the depression. It's the anxiety. It's the fear. It's the joy. It's the capacity. It's the opportunity. It's where you are. Adapt to the conditions and you will be free. Harmonize. Establish freedom in these conditions. Adapt. Heart it. Breathe it. Pursue objects. Chasing after the good, we get burned by the bad. Avoiding the bad, we get chased after by the good. Don't pursue any objects. Abide in neither rising nor falling. Abide in neither giving nor receiving. But to be there, to touch that, to know that, we've got to give. We've got to receive. We've got to get involved in the right way. And we've got to get really involved. And the deeper we get into this path, there needs to be a warning label, because you cannot go back. You cannot reverse the tide. You cannot reverse the work that you've done. So we've just got to go forward. We've got to be more mindful. We've got to be more generous. We've got to be more careful, more patient, more forgiving, more flexible, more ready. To breathe and be free. And to know that we are breathing and being free. No more chasing, no more pursuing objects right at this moment. Just like a meteor hitting Earth. Just like the executioner's blade. It's just like that. It's always like that. This is that. This is no other than that. That's how we practice. That's how we show up. That's how we recognize our true nature rather than our apparent nature. That's how we develop a relationship with our true self rather than our apparent self. Even this body is not your true self. Can you believe it? But it's abundantly clear. It's you don't have to believe it. It's just nature. How much more so this mind? Not even this mind. Not even peace. Not even freedom. Not even. It's all to be forgiven. The executioner's blade. What kind of philosophy is going to stop it? What kind of belief system is going to prevent it? Nothing. It's only the forgiving, the ending, the finishing, the resolving, right at this moment. Have you found peace? Have you found your no self? No one in particular. Master Daning Quan said to an assembly, "No thought is the source. No dwelling is the basis. True emptiness is the substance. Ethereal being is the function. That is why it is said that the whole earth is true emptiness. The whole universe is ethereal being. The whole earth is true emptiness. The whole universe is ethereal being. Don't get tripped up by anything. Keep going. Now tell me who can apply this. You can apply this. You can practice this. The ocean can apply this. The 4 seasons go on and on. The sun and moon are always light. Reality basically never changes. The way has no location. Adapt to conditions and you will be free. Pursue objects and you will rise and fall. In this land and other regions, you enter the ordinary and the holy. But tell me, how do you express going into a village and adapting to its customs? Sanskrit in India, Chinese in China. You've got to wake up and get involved and take care. It doesn't matter what the appearance is. You've got to adapt. You've got to take care. You've got to get up. You've got to breathe and walk. Step forward. And the more that you do that, the more clearly you will see for yourself. And we will have big seeings and small seeings, right? No thought is the source. No dwelling is the basis of the most beautiful blooming lotus flower. True emptiness is the substance. The foundation of all particular people, places, experiences, things, etc. is impermanence. Ethereal being is the function. Transform. Be limitless. Okay, dear community, thank you all so much for being here. Happy birthday, Bhante. Thank you. And we'll take some time for open space if anyone wants to ask a question or share their experience. Then they're welcome to do so, okay? And you can ask a question on the YouTube or here on Discord. You can unmute your mic. It's especially nice. You can't be too late if you're here in the moment. And thank you again, everyone, for all the birthday wishes and support. Jay, do you want to ask a question because you came in a little bit later than you expected? So what is this discussion about? What is this community about? Breathing in, we know that we are breathing in, and that's already too much, but we practice with it. Breathing out, we know that we are breathing out. We release the importance that we give to beliefs, ideas, etc. Dropping all assumptions about oneself, this person, this situation, this story. Dropping all those assumptions, all those beliefs, all those positions that you hold right at this moment. And then what is this? What is this interesting experience that's here? This body, this tension, this breathing, this seeing, this hearing, everything. It's very interesting. So then what do we do? How do we approach or react to something that's very interesting that we come across from a place of, sitting still or just being where we are? Well, we step forward, we look at it, we embrace it with our attention. And so in the same way, that's our practice, to embrace this experiencing, this happening with our attention. And there are certain tips and tricks, ways and means that we can get ourselves into a more and more suitable position to do this work. Such as we prioritize, really, as a practice, not as a belief. I don't want to believe anything. I don't want anyone here to believe anything. So, this is a practice that we try and we see what happens, right? We do actions of generosity. What does that mean? I don't know. I don't know who you are. I don't know where you are. I don't know what's going on with you. I'm not you, isn't it? So we act on it. We practice it. We do actions of generosity. We experience it. We find out what this means through our practice, not through ideas and what do I do? What do I do? Do actions of generosity. Do good deeds. And that's the path. Finding out what the heck does that mean? And then we appreciate, or we begin to appreciate very deeply, to be mindful, to just be aware, to just experience. Where it's not always this narrative, this thinking, this judgment, this reactivity, this chasing after, right? And actually, taking a hot bath in the dark, or taking a shower in the dark, or going for a walk in nature, can help us be mindful. Already naturally mindful. Or good conditions. It's amazing. Sometimes, even as a monk, maybe people think I live an easy life or a life that doesn't have suffering. Maybe it can appear that way because of my role as a teacher, a facilitator, right? But sometimes I do feel anxiety or depression or difficulty. I really feel like I get into the slumps of my heart and mind. And it is amazing, it is incredible how quickly healing can happen, how quickly rejuvenation can happen when we know how to be mindful, when we know how to get up, when we know how to step forward, when we know how to practice, when we know how to show up to our life, to adapt to the conditions, rather than letting those conditions be our adaptation. You understand? And it doesn't mean we rush into anything, and it doesn't mean we have this, I need to fix myself, I need to change everything. But it means we know how to do actions of generosity. We know how to do good deeds. We know how to be mindful. We know how to offer. We know how to get up and go for a walk and be with our breathing. We know that there's such a thing as Dhamma teachers, Dhamma talks. We know that there's such a thing as Sangha. We know that there's such a thing as Buddha, waking up. And that this can be developed to a great, great capacity. But that's not even the point. It's just the waking up. It's just the recognition of that nibbana nature. The truth. There is suffering. Why is this suffering happening? Because I'm desiring. I want things to be different from how they are. Well, you know, they're not different, so you're confused. So you're sinking. You're lost. I don't want to feel anxious. Well, so that I want, that the root of this suffering. And that there's an ending of suffering, which is this freedom, this nibbana, this enlightenment, this peace, this finishing, this forgiving. And that there's a path to the ending of suffering, right? And we can say it's Buddhism, we can say it's the Eightfold Path. But really, don't get stuck in. It's the same with what are actions of generosity? What's doing good deeds? Just show up. Just showing up means that we can bring mindfulness to every moment. Present moment awareness to every experience. Oh, I'm in the present. 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 The seeing itself. Oh, I'm in the present. The hearing itself. Oh, I'm in the present. The breathing itself. Oh, I'm in the present. Petting your dog. Oh, I'm in the present. And naturally, a lot of patience, a lot of patience, a lot of forgiveness. That's probably the most important part of the path, is patience and forgiveness. You recognize there is suffering. You recognize there's a reason for that suffering, constant desire, constant chasing after, and we recognize it to lesser and greater degrees, but we can see that, right? Oh, I'm chasing after something. I want something else. I want things to be different from how they are, and I suffer a lot. chasing after money, chasing after pleasure, chasing after fame, chasing after a relationship. Suffer, suffer, suffer. And you get really entangled in all these different mental dynamics when you're like that. So stop chasing. Be mindful. Nibbana. Freedom. Freedom. But we will notice more and more there is suffering. We're not enlightened. We will become, there you go. The more that you practice, the more aware you will become that you are not enlightened. And that is the patience. That is the forgiveness. That is the compassion to continue. And to love yourself. To wish for your good health, to wish for your good freedom, to wish for your enlightenment, even though you're not enlightened yet. That's kindness. And that's a powerful, powerful tool. But if you just keep thinking about this stuff and trying to figure this stuff out, it's not going to do any good. It's not going to help anything. Now, hopefully someone can answer your question in a good way to help guide you on the path. Hopefully someone shows up and says, "Hey, you crazy person, wake up. Get up." Right? Hopefully, but that's not for sure that that's going to happen. So you need to try to practice. And we need to have some trust and faith, actually not in someone else, but in our gut. Does this seem right? And then we try, even though we're afraid, even though we're uncertain, even though we're confused in all kinds of ways. But we still show up, we still practice, we try, and then you'll know about it. But if you can't try the simplest thing, if you can't put the starting point into practice, then you're not going to get anywhere. And it's no use thinking about it. Better to just relax and breathe. Okay, dear community, we'll finish here. And I want to thank you all for showing up, especially on don't have the good conditions right now to schedule. Blessed and grateful that all of you take the time to show up, even though it can be last minute. I will keep trying to improve. I will keep trying to do my best on the spiritual path and to live up to these robes and my life as a monk. And I hope that that can inspire you to also do your best, to really try to practice and to show up and to engage and step forward on this path as much as you can. And I'm here to help, and the community is here to help as well. And there's a lot of resources that we have here, so we're here to help each other. All right? Thank you. And YouTube friends, don't be shy to leave a like on our video here and leave a comment as well, so more people can come across Bhante's birthday bonanza.